Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly reading. I've got to say, this is a tough weekly reading. I haven't seen such a tough one in a while. We do have a lot going on this week. On the 18th, so I think that's Wednesday, we have Mercury stationing direct and in Capricorn, and then we have Uranus stationing direct by the end of the week. I think it's Sunday, and that will be all planets forward moving for the next almost 3 months. This is a really unusual length of time that we'll have every single planet direct, and it is an opportunity for intense forward propulsion. And I almost think that that's why we've got such a tough week ahead. We also have the sun changing signs into Aquarius on Saturday. And just after he changes signs, the moon comes to meet him, meaning it's a new moon and it is at 0 degrees of Capricorn, of Aquarius. And this is exactly where Pluto is moving in March. So what we're going to be experiencing this week, I think, is giving us a little clue as to what this Pluto shift is going to be about in a mini form. And I think it's probably going to be a bit of an uncomfortable week looking at this reading, I'm afraid. And we also have 5 cards, so choose a number between 1 and 5 today. Also, South Africa is having this marvelous thing called load shedding, where our energy providers cannot provide energy. So hopefully this loads soon, since we have an 8-hour stint of no power coming soon. I've woken early to try and get this loaded, but send some good energy, as we will not be having the electrical energy for most of the day. And just jumping in, have you chosen your number? Here's the big reading. Everything is upside down. And 2 major arcana cards, pretty big work, and a lot of it well outside our control. So we start the week. So it kind of is showing us that there is such a potential for us right now to do all of our shadow stuff, to do all of our negative default settings. But what I'm thinking, especially as it's just this intense energy, as 2 planets, one of them a personal planet, Mercury, are turning retrograde direct in this week. And because we have this 0 degree Aquarius new moon, that we are going to be able to see some of our worst stuff, and we are going to get really, really uncomfortable in it. And we're going to have this retrospective kind of look at, why do I keep behaving in that way? What the heck? And hopefully that's going to then begin to shift. Certainly by the time Pluto gets there, we are going to be ready to be honest with ourselves about these tough things that it's hard sometimes to see. Most people are not trying to be difficult. It's that you sometimes just don't want to see truthfully how you behave badly in certain situations. And we all have situations we behave badly in. So we start the week with the upside down 2 of Cups. It's an exceptionally relational card. We know last year was the year of the lovers. Now we're forward momentum into the Chariot. It's time for us to take relationships to another level. And in this position, it's also sort of talking into a lack of trust in relationships, or an imbalance. Imbalance is we've got Temperance upside down too, and Temperance is a big balance card. And so there's a very big need to recalibrate and get a better balance, because we're clearly out of balance. So you might look at that as, in what relationships am I giving more than I'm receiving, or am I receiving more than I'm giving? We might look at that in, where am I not trusting the people I'm in relationship with, and where are they not trusting me? Am I trustworthy and safe for those people within the relationship? Are they trustworthy and safe for me? So looking at some of those big questions within our relationships, and they're important. They're important for us to thrive, not just survive our relationships. And that's the idea of relationships, is that they are supposed to build us up and help us to feel able to be our best selves and our worst selves, but be safe within that. So if you're not creating that for the people you're in relationship with, or 1 or 2 of the people you're in relationship with, and if they're not doing that for you, bearing in mind we're all human, then we need to check the balance. The energy is running out. The cups are upside down. The hermit is then speaking to the other side of that. Well, if I'm not doing okay in relationship, I am going to isolate myself. I am going to hermit. I'm going away. I'm going to feel alone, desolate. I'm going to be seeking some kind of light to heal myself. And yet, if it's upside down, it's that kind of like I'm trying to heal, but I never really get there. And of course, that's not the kind of healing we want to be doing. And also, that card, the Hermit card upside down, is looking back into old relationships that weren't working, into my old patterns that weren't serving. And it's like using the negative things to just stay stuck in the darkness rather than using the experiences that we've had to turn it around and look forward. Then when we get to the Temperance card, it's about balance ideally. You can see holding the sun and the moon, and ideally here we really just want to balance out the energies, the polarities, the sun and moon. I mean, we're having a new moon this week, for goodness sake. That is an ultimate point of when the sun and moon are on the same page and they're trying to find this kind of balance, but this is upside down. So the balance is off. We already see that in the Two of Cups, but that's more in our personal relationships even. Whereas with Temperance, this is like a bigger level of balance. This is almost like our soul's level. This is societal, absolutely. So now it's, instead of looking so much at what you're doing in relationships or not doing, or what the other is doing or not doing, with Temperance, it's like a chance to go, on a soul level, where am I struggling to find balance? Where am I stuck in some major excess of something or deficit of something else? So maybe where you are leaning into vices in a big way, or where you are, like, you could look at the alcoholic in that situation, or you could look at the other extreme of the anorexic. Where am I withholding food and nourishment from myself to the extreme? Or where am I binging on food, alcohol, anything addictive, on the other extreme? And of course, because this is a major arcana card, and because Pluto, this archetypal change change planet, is coming into this same point where the sun and moon are meeting on Saturday, for me, this is also saying, and where I find that in myself, where do I see it in society? How is it reflecting in society? And I don't think it will take very long for us to find several examples of where that kind of balance is completely out, which is again almost why the Hermit is turning her back on the future, because at this stage, it's like you can't see clearly into how the future could get any better, because the present is so out of whack, out of balance, and not okay. Those are the two major arcana cards. So they bring this bigger picture into our personal story this week. And so it's not just about our personal story. We need to look bigger. And I think the 0 degree Aquarius point is such a pivotal point. We started tapping into it when we had the great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction there on the 21st of December 2020. So this is a point that is going to reflect that time. If you're an avid journaler and you have notes from that time, look back. Then you'll feel a shadow of it, this, or an aftershock of whatever came this new moon. And then when Pluto hits that degree point, then we're really going to start to feel rumbles. So that may help us, excuse me, to get a better picture of how we make a better future. Because right now it feels like we just can't see it. So the Hermit can't find her light to point forward. So she's stuck in the past of where she's gone wrong, where we've gone wrong. Then we come into the King of Swords, and he's also, as they all are, upside down this week, and he is a very intellectual guy. He's very smart, but swords are double-edged. So if he is well out of balance, and obviously this is looking for that aspect within ourselves, then we have cutting words. We can be deceitful. We can be spiteful, manipulative, all these kind of things that with a sharp tongue and a sharp mind, can get skewed, again, out of balance. Because in balance, you'd be a solution finder, you'd be a wise voice of reason, sometimes saying the things that don't want to be said, but for the greater good. But when he's upside down, we can be doing that in not the best of ways. And again, it's speaking to even if we come right back, I've realized there's an imbalance in my relationships, or just let's look at one relationship for a minute. I find there's an imbalance in one relationship. I'm now furious about it. I start manipulating behind the scene, or I say things that are really, really cruel, and I know just how to stick the knife in because I know this other person really well. Then I feel ashamed and I disappear into my cave and I can't access my light because I'm such a terrible person and my self-talk has become such horrendous, negative, inner critic stuff. And then I don't know how to look forward into the future because this world is such a terrible, terrible, terrible place. And then I get into that relationship space again and I start again. I'm attacking, I'm lashing out, I'm cutting with my words, I'm scheming, I'm lying, I'm deceiving, and we go back to the Two of Cups and we come back to the whole cycle because we're stuck in a loop. And that's exactly what this week is wanting to show us. Where are we stuck in a loop? So as horrible as this reading is showing up for us, it's helping us to see where we're stuck in a loop. And the Nine of Wands gives us a little more guidance to that. It's like we have trapped ourselves within our own bad patterns, our own bad habits, our excesses and our deficits, our imbalance. We put ourselves in what we thought at one point was a safe little space. We built a wall around it and we thought everything would be fine. But inside that, all that was out of balance just started to get bigger and bigger. And now we feel caged and trapped and we don't know how to break out of this. But in actual fact, for me, because this card was unexpected and jumped out of the deck at the end, and even though it's upside down, for me, it is kind of the answer to the question. We need to be able to break down the wall and rebuild with healthy boundaries. We need to find our determination, grit, and stamina, dig our feet in, get defiant about not lying down and dying because the world is a difficult place, but actually standing strong, standing firm. Knock down fences where they need to be knocked down, rebuild fences where they need to be rebuilt. And if you need to move entirely, then you just move entirely. This pointed history in which we're all living is not an easy point, but you wouldn't be here if your soul wasn't ready for it. You wouldn't be here if you didn't ask to be. So breathe deeply, find your patterning, be honest with yourself. Even if you can't be honest with anybody else, be honest with yourself and give yourself some self-love, because going through these huge transformative times, and don't kid yourself, we are all individually and collectively going through huge transformational times. This is not a time to let your inner critic out too long. Only enough for you to see the situation and be honest with yourself. But don't let that inner critic get hooks in you that you can't let go of, because then you can't change. You just get stuck procrastinating about why this and why that and why there's no point even starting because you'll never get it right. Nobody is perfect. We're all on this journey together. I wish you all so much love and light on this week. And thank you for watching my readings and supporting my work. It means a lot to me as I try to grow this business. And remember, I am available for readings and all sorts of other things. Check out the link below. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful week and good luck.